it's really hard for me to take advice from people that I don't respect, and I don't respect a lot of people.
Have you been diagnosed with
No, and
like
I really
BPD
don't think
or-
I should go to the doctor to be like,
Yeah, you're probably
told
fine. And when you say
Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. If you are new here, welcome. I would love it if you would help me to grow this channel and hit that subscribe button. And if you're returning, welcome back. I truly do appreciate your continued support on my channel, and I hope that you are subscribed as well. So I wanted to play that little clip at the beginning so you could see who it is that we're going to be talking about today. And I do have to apologize in advance because my husband does most of the editing for me, and I know that I talk about things sometimes where he's just like, gee, thanks. But I thought it was important that we kind of see a little bit of the conversation that she has had in the past, particularly on this podcast, so that we can understand where she is now and the recent revelations that she has publicly made about her life. I know that I have talked about the Whatever podcast in the past on my channel and just some of the things that people have said on it. If you're not overly familiar with who they are, I mean, I feel like this particular podcast has exploded in popularity over the last couple of years. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. There are a lot of things said on this podcast that I had never imagined I would hear in my entire life, and I'm hoping that I can erase from my brain at some point. There are also a lot of very important conversations that happen on here, particularly because we have seen this explosion of young women feeling like they need to do things like OnlyFans, or feeling like it's okay to do things like adult entertainment and engage in that industry as part of some kind of sexual liberation. And they are met with people who push back on those values or push back on that worldview and try to get them to open their eyes to the fact that the decisions they're making now are going to impact their future, you know, when they do grow up and when they do mature, when they do kind of exit that lifestyle. And it is going to impact them when they're like, hey, I am ready to settle down. I am ready to find a committed, loving partner. I am ready to settle down and raise children, and helping them understand that the decisions they're making now in this lifestyle are going to affect whether or not that's even a possibility for them. And this is just an example of one of those kind of conversations.
The truth is that if you are going to engage in sex work, you are going to probably make a lot of money, especially if you're young. You're on a very tight rope. As you get older, your value goes down, and men are going to want women that are younger and available to them. The truth is that high value men don't want to date women that are sex workers or even women that aren't sex workers. And what we're talking about is biological proclivity. What men are doing when they first say, this sounds amazing, to date a stripper or to date a prostitute or to date a sex worker, there's this instinct to have sex. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to have sex all the time. But then when they realize that actually a form of wanting to be in a relationship is feeling that there's a mystery to a woman, that there's something that's yours, there's something that's sacred, there's something that's powerful and beautiful that just you share. And when they realize that they have to share that with other men, it completely diminishes the man.
It's not just about the future of their marriage and family and just the prospects in that area that they have to consider. It's that they have this internet history. They have this, you know, really easy to find information about, you know, the things that they have put out there that are also going to affect other areas of their life. And I found this clip particularly important in that space.
Fans aside, I would not advocate for employers to go looking to see how qualified the candidates are by the first thing that they're searching up after they see the name on the resume. Let's see if they have an OnlyFans account.
It comes up pretty quickly
and
when you look at
it
somebody's background.
It wouldn't just be
on
that
the
as part of their
internet.
history any more than I think it's relevant for an employer to be like, let's look through their Facebook, let's look through their Twitter, to specifically comb through their prospective like applicants' internet history.
Okay,
in that way.
Internet history and OnlyFans are two different things.
OnlyFans can be part of your internet.
So if I'm a CEO
they
and I'm
do.
hiring somebody, let's say I'm hiring a salesperson to close high-ticket deals and they're talking with important people on a daily basis, and I'm
Right.
sending that salesperson to go speak with these people, and if any of those people that they speak to look up that person's name and they find pornography of them all over the internet, obviously they're going to take me and my company far less seriously if I have somebody working like that for me.
What I also hope is that, you know, these young women will look at these scenarios and what all of these, you know, OF account holders are saying and really think to themselves if this is worth doing right now when it has so much potential to cut off so many other opportunities for things that I really want later. And that's why I want to talk about the girl that I opened the video with. Because of all people that have been on this show, she is probably the last person that anyone would have expected to turn her life around.
Wait, your biggest fantasy is
Not
you
even
cheating.
my biggest. It's like one.
Get baptized, and she even decided to delete her OF account. And I honestly think that this is a huge deal, not just to make this decision personally, but to have been somebody that has been on this podcast, that has said so many extreme things, that has really gone to the extreme levels of all of these type of girls. And to be so willing to put it out there that she is making these choices to turn her life around, knowing full well that she is probably going to get a lot of backlash and people that don't believe that she's making this decision for the right reasons or that she is genuine. But I want to listen to a little bit of her testimony and then kind of go through some of the reaction that she has received.
I have a couple things to address, and I just need you to listen to me. So, I've had quite a few people reach out to me, comment, just truly curious about what and why I changed. So listen, I was a pastor's kid for almost all my life. I grew up in church. I was always in church. I was also homeschooled. So my life truly felt like a cage. And I'm not saying Christianity is a cage. I'm saying religion was the cage. I was a Baptist, I was a Baptist pastor's child for the longest time, right? Me and my family did not have a good relationship. And I'm the middle of 5 children. So I'm talking about my other brothers and sisters and my parents. It just truly felt like such a cage. I was a very rebellious child, like sneaking out when I was like 16 years old. I was just going the wrong way, right? So about 4 years ago, I started my OnlyFans because I think truly it was out of pure rebellion. And like, honestly, I'm such a independent person that I never felt the need for a man to provide for me, like have a man in my life to provide for me. So I started OnlyFans about 4 years ago and I climbed to top 0.01%. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that the devil can truly give you things in this life. He has a budget though. He can only go so far. So a couple million, okay, great. The devil can do that sometimes, right? But I truly have gifts and talents. I just did not use them in the right way. And I'm reaching out to anyone who's questioning what they should do in their life. And I turn to corn. That's what we're going to call it, okay? So this is just me sharing my personal experience with you. So I reached out and did corn for 4 years. And I showed myself all over the internet. I said crazy things on podcasts. If you don't know the I Love Cheating podcast. And so I met this person who's now my partner, and he truly showed me God's love. He was sending me Bible verses, praying over me, and we were just friends. So the Holy Spirit was truly working and moving, but I was in such a rebellion against it because I was like, God doesn't love me. I've had to work this hard for this many years because no one cared about me. My family didn't care about me. Christianity is a cage. It's not Christianity. It's religion. Religion is the cage. And unfortunately, I didn't have good role models growing up. My parents, my siblings, I didn't have good friends. I truly fell into darkness. And I was, like I said, I was top 0.01% creator. That is crazy. That is a crazy milestone to reach in that industry. So I made what I made. I did what I did, but I want to share with you guys the truth of it all because I am now giving it all up for Christ.
So I do want to respond to a few things that she said, and she's not looking for my validation whatsoever. And it's not that I disagree with the things that she said, but I think there are some really interesting points that she makes. When she says that she's a very rebellious child and she did grow up in a home where her I believe her father was a pastor and she was homeschooled. So very traditional home, very traditional values. And as a Christian myself, as somebody who has grown up in a religious home, I can definitely see how, you know, it's more personality based. You can end up with kids that, you know, it's very easy for them to follow these things. And then you end up with kids that really need to break the boundaries and really need to push against what's expected of them and really test the water, sometimes to an extreme. And when she says that she started her OnlyFans where she really feels like it was because she was trying to be more rebellious and rebel against everything that her parents expected of her, or that she was taught to do, or, you know, ways that maybe she was taught to behave, or whatever it is, it really, to me, goes against this idea that so many of these girls engage in the adult entertainment industry because they say that it's part of being sexually liberated, or part of being an empowered woman and not caring about what society thinks and just doing whatever you want. When I think in a lot of ways, a lot of these women think that they are rebelling against what society expects of them, that they are just, you know, pretty much just giving the middle finger to traditional values and saying that I don't need to be that way to be happy. But they're doing things that are really ultimately, you know, maybe providing some kind of, you know, sense of happiness temporarily, but in the long term are really going to be very destructive to them. And I always think it is really interesting when so many of these girls say that I never felt like I needed a man to provide for me, or, you know, I don't need no man to support me, like I'm independent, I can do this myself. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you have an account on OnlyFans or any kind of adult website, you cannot survive without the support of men. Your entire career rests on whether or not men have money, men are weak, men have these desires, men want to cheat. I mean, it really does solely rely on men. Like, I don't think there is any other industry on the planet that relies more on men than girls who are willing to do pretty much whatever men ask of them or engage in the most extreme of fantasies and behaviors. I mean, there's no other job on planet Earth that relies more on men and what they think and what they want than doing this kind of work. And the last thing that I really wanted to touch on before I kind of move on to the reaction to her is that I know in today's society, it has become this thing where we really have belittled this idea of thoughts and prayers. And when people say, you know, you have my thoughts and prayers, or I'm praying for you, or I'm thinking of you, particularly in extreme tragedy, there are so many people that say we need more than thoughts and prayers. We need action. And, you know, whatever the opposition to that phrase is. But people really should not be belittling what thoughts and prayers can do and the power that prayer can have over people. And we are fully aware that that does not mean that praying over someone is going to dismiss an issue, or it's going to cure everything, or it's going to provide an immediate result. But if you can pray over people, and if you can pray for them and pray for the Spirit to be with them and guide them, you can see those slow changes being made, or you can see people being guided towards the solutions that are really beneficial to people. So, you know, as she is a testament of, as she is an example of, truly, you know, praying over people is not a small thing. So one of the unfortunate responses that she got was from Pearl Davis. And, you know, the more that I watch of Pearl, the more that I really just question her thought process on a lot of things. And I really don't think that she is doing a lot of good work in the world, but whatever, you know, to each their own. While this guy is saying, you know, that they were afraid that she was not going to delete her OF, that she was really just doing this baptism for show and whatever else, you know, she did delete her OF, but then Pearl Davis retweeted it saying, you guys are idiots, basically saying like, you know, you're dumb if you believe that this is genuine. You're dumb if you believe that she really means what she is doing. And it really is unfortunate to have that reaction, because ultimately as Christians, you know, we want people to make better choices in their lives. But at the end of the day, it is not our choice. It is not our place to judge. And this is something that we talk about all the time. It is not our place to judge. And she doesn't have to prove anything to any of us. And even if she got baptized one day and then the next day went straight back to OF, at least she has taken one step in the right direction, which means she is likely to take more steps in that direction in the future. It's kind of like a drug addict who, you know, they go and they have their issue and then they get clean for a few days or a few weeks, and they go back to this habit. And then they're like, okay, I did it once, I can do it again. And they try to get clean again, and this time for a longer period of time. And I'm not saying that that's what this girl is going to do, but even if that is what she did, that is not our place to judge. And we should welcome people and be happy for them, regardless of what happens afterwards. But when we react like this, we're sending a message to all of these girls that we are trying to tell them that perhaps they should make better choices and that there is hope for them if they do. We're telling them that if you make this choice to turn your life around, all we're going to do is yell at you and make sure that you are aware of every mistake that you have made in your life. But what I hope is that she or anybody else who chooses to maybe take a different path in life and perhaps a better path in life will not look at these people that are criticizing them for the choices that they're making now, because apparently you just can't win with some people, and be discouraged. I hope that this does not discourage her, and I hope that it doesn't discourage anybody from turning things around. But I really do want to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below. I'm not even going to ask if you think that her baptism or her testimony or her change in life is genuine or not, because it really doesn't matter if we think that it is or not. It just, her decisions are between her and God. Please make sure that you hit that thumbs up. Make sure that you are subscribed. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one.